Hi guys! Today I wanted to think about what products I would keep if I could only keep 15. I can only keep 15 things. What would those products be? And I am going to be applying the products as I talk about them, so this is the completed look. I love the way this look turned out, and I really wanted to pick products, not just products I like, but products that are most versatile. Things that I think would go with a lot of different types of looks, or things that multitask, things that can be used for multiple purposes. I really wanted to try to fit as much variety as I could into just these 15 products. I know I've seen this video concept go around on YouTube. I'm not sure who started it originally, but I do know I most recently saw Simply Blair, and that's really who inspired me to do a video like this. So I will link her video down below. Thank you to Blair for inspiring this video, and let's get into what I would keep if I could only keep 15 products. One thing I could definitely skip is primer, so I didn't decide to keep a primer for my 15 products. So the first thing I would keep would be a foundation, and the one I chose is the one I feel like is the most reliable no matter what my skin is dealing with, and I went with the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. I love it because it's so hydrating and so forgiving with dry skin, and my skin's been really dry recently. I think just with the change in weather. Oh, by the way, this little scratch on my chin, that's from B. Sometimes she gets overexcited in the morning when she comes to lay on my chest when I wake up. She'll start like nibbling on my chin and like pawing at it, and sometimes she gets a little too into it and starts scratching it. I don't know. I recently had this foundation in my everyday makeup drawer and I was using it every day, and I really fell back in love with it because every single time I used it, I was just so happy with the way my base looked. So that's why I went with this one. Now, I have mentioned before that the CoverGirl Clean Invisible foundation is a good, affordable alternative to this foundation, and I do still think it is. But as my skin has gotten more dry recently, I just feel like the LYS is a little bit more forgiving when it comes to dry patches and like peeling skin. They're both great, light coverage, skin-like, all those good things. And I still really love the CoverGirl one. That's probably just the one I would reach for if my skin is more like combo to oily versus dry. Do I even need to say what concealer I would keep? I think we all know. Say it with me. NYX, bear with me, Serum Concealer. It's just my absolute favorite. Way less prone to settling in fine lines than most other concealers, especially hydrating concealers. I feel like a lot of hydrating concealers do end up settling into fine lines more easily just because they're really emollient, they kind of move around. Any kind of coverage product you put on your under eyes is going to crease a tiny bit, but this one, compared to other concealers, creases so much less. It's really amazing. Just for the sake of having more options in other categories, I would skip a color corrector, even though I do love color corrector. It's one of those steps I feel like I don't have to take. If I'm in a hurry, that's one of the first things to go because I can easily skip it and I don't feel like it, makes or breaks my entire makeup look. So I wouldn't keep a color corrector. I would definitely miss my NYX Pro Fix Stick though. I decided to keep just one blush, knowing that I could also use some of my lip products as blushes. And this blush actually also doubles as a lip product. It's the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek Stick in the shade Work. This green blush has really grown on me. First of all, I love this shade so much. It's like the perfect rosy peach. I mainly chose this because I love the shade. This is kind of my go-to shade for every day. I feel like this kind of shade just goes with so many different looks. It's very versatile. And the other reason I chose this one is because it's a multitasker. You can also use this on the lips. It is lip safe, and I'll go ahead and put some on right now. It is really pretty on the lips, and it just gives the perfect amount of color. I love that. I did choose some other lip products, but I just wanted to show what that looks like. The face powder I would choose is another one that would probably be no surprise if you have been around on my channel, but it's the e.l.f. Halo Glow Loose Powder, specifically in the shade Light. I chose this one because Light makes a good shade for the under eyes and the face. Definitely use the light pink shade of this more often, but I usually only use pink powder on my under eyes. I don't use it so much on the rest of my face. So I felt like this one would again just be more versatile, and that's really what we're going for here, is products with the most versatility. Yeah, my skin is super dry today. It's just been really cold. This has been one of my favorite powders for I think almost 3 years now. It's gotta be one of the longest standing favorites I've ever had, but it is just so good. It's so finely milled. It's great if you like to set your face, but you also feel like a lot of powders look heavy or powdery or dry. This just smooths everything out. It's so beautiful. Everything is set, but it still has a nice bit of like healthy glow to it. So pretty. The bronzer I couldn't help but choose was the Fenty Sunstalker bronzer in the shade Into Sun. Somebody told me that they have changed the shade of this. I don't know if that's true or not, but if so, that makes me very sad because this is the perfect shade. Like, this did not need to be changed. But this is the shade I have. This is what mine looks like. This is just the easiest powder bronzer, and it's light enough that it really doesn't look like bronzer on my skin. It just warms it up in such a natural way. And it's also just so easy to use. It's really creamy, even though it is a powder. The way that it just like melts into my skin, it's so beautiful. I love this bronzer. I also chose a single powder highlighter. I was going back and forth thinking like, should I pick one of my dual-ended bronzer and highlight sticks, and that way I would have a 2-in-1 and that would free up more room for other products. But when I really thought about it, I was like, I really just love powder highlight so much more than cream, and I would really miss having a powder highlight in my collection, and I would also really miss this Fenty bronzer if I didn't have it. So I decided to just pick what I actually really wanted, which was a single bronzer and a single highlighter. Those are the types of things I use most often. And the highlighter I went with is the Spark Cosmetics Ethereal Glow Highlighter. And the reason I chose this one is because it is colorless, totally clear base. So it just gives this like wet looking sheen. But I didn't want to pick like a really pinky toned highlighter or a really golden toned highlighter. I wanted to pick something that doesn't really have any color to it, that would just give the glow, and that way I could pair it with any look. And so that's why I landed on this one. I also just love how smooth this one is. It looks like it would be like super frosty in the pan, but there is really no frostiness to it. It's just that super sheeny glisten. It's gorgeous. Really happy with this choice. Because like I said, I was going back and forth. Like, I know it would be wise to choose a 2-in-1 bronzer and highlight, but really at the end of the day, I love my powders for those 2 steps. So that's pretty much everything for the face. I kind of kept it to just 1 product per step for the face because I wanted to have just a few more options for other things. The next thing I definitely couldn't skip would be an eyeshadow primer. And of my 3 eyeshadow primers currently, I would actually say my favorite one is the Urban Decay Primer Potion. And the reason for that is because I feel like of my 3 eye primers, I have this one, the Milani, and the Kaleidos. This one I feel like does the best if my eyelids are dry, which also I feel like I end up getting dry skin on my eyelids quite a bit. And this seems to be almost like the most moisturizing, which you would think that would make it less effective at holding on to eyeshadows, but that's really not the case. It does a good job preventing creasing and fading. So yeah, it's just a good OG primer. Of my 3 current ones, I would say I like this one the most. For the brows, of course, I would keep my NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Pen, but I also need a brow gel, and the one I decided is actually one that's relatively new to me, but I've been enjoying it so much. It's the Rare Beauty Flexible Lifting Gel. This is a clear brow gel, and I've just been so impressed with how well this holds my brows in place. It's not super sticky and gluey like the Ardell Brow Glue or like the NYX Brow Glue. It really is more of just a traditional brow gel, but it actually has like really good hold, even though it doesn't leave your brows feeling stiff or crunchy. I like to just press my brows down with the e.l.f. Brow Lift applicator after I apply this, and it really does give them that super nice, clean, lifted look. Really nice. Sometimes I like to brush my brow hairs like backwards like this, just to really get each hair coated in glue. Look at that, that looks so funny. And then I comb them back into place. This is my bad brow. And then after that dries, I go in with the NYX Thick It Stick It Brow Gel. I wear the shade Taupe. It was so hard to pick just one eyeshadow palette, but at the same time it wasn't that hard because I was going through all my options and I decided to choose one that I feel like, again, is the most versatile. And I ended up landing on the Nomad Ghost Town USA palette. I feel like this has all the options I could want in terms of neutral shades. This whole half of the palette has all my staple neutrals. I love that it has a mix of warm and cool tones as well. It has a few different options for just like everyday shimmer shades, but then it also has some colorful options, greens, blues, this purpley multi-chrome here. There's just a lot of options here, and I really feel like of all my palettes, this one is the most versatile, at least for the kinds of variety of looks that I want to have. Today I want to do something kind of like warm and coppery. I'm going to start out my look though with the shade Undead Sheriff, this nice gray taupe, and I'm just going to buff that into the crease. Then dipping into the shade right below that, Bandit Queen, and I'm just deepening up my outer corner and crease a little bit with this shade. I'm going to take this Milk Lip and Cheek off my lips, just because I am going to be putting a different color on in a minute. Then dipping into Deadwood, this deepest brown shade. Most of the time when I'm doing a neutral look with this palette, I just use all 3 of those shades first. And I'm just using a smudge brush to place this right above the outer third of my upper lash line. Okay, then we're gonna go over to this column. I'm gonna start with the shade Garnet Montana. It is like a smoky garnet kind of shade. And I'm placing that here in the outer third of my lid. Really, yeah, that shade is super smoky. You could put that all over the lid if you wanted a really smoky look. And moving on up the column, now I'm dipping into Copper Penny. I'm placing that here in the center of my lid. That shade matches my shirt. And then moving on up to Tombstone. And I'm placing that in the inner third of my eye. I'm picking up just a little bit more of Undead Sheriff and just blending out the edges with that. The last shade I'm going to dip into is this one here. This is called Rhyolite Nevada. And I'm picking that up on a little teeny tiny brush and I'm just applying that right around my inner corner. And I like to scoop that up into the inner crease as well. It's a tip that I learned from Allie Glines. Look at those shimmers together. Just the way that they blend from lightest to deepest, they work together so well. I'm going back to my smudge brush and taking a little bit of Bandit Queen down onto the lower lash line. Even though this palette is obviously Halloween themed, I really think this color story makes sense year-round. Like, of course there's some beautiful fall shades in here, but I mean in the spring, I think these greens would be stunning in the spring. In the winter, you could do a frosty blue look. Like, there's just really something for every season in here. For my eyeliner step, I decided to choose another thing that is a multitasker. This is the Tower 28 one-liner in the shade Draw Me. I love this because they market it as an all-in-one pencil. You can use it on your eyes, your cheeks, your lips, wherever you want it. For me, this is definitely a color that I would use most often as an eyeliner, but I have used it as a lip liner as well, and it's really fun for a deep brown. And that's why I chose this pencil rather than like a liquid liner like my Fenty one, because this is, again, just a little bit more versatile. So I'm going to use this on my eyes today. I'm not going to use it on my lips today, but I have done that before in my, I think it was actually in my Sephora try-on haul, if you want to see it used that way. I just love a good brown pencil liner. It's very smudgeable, it's very malleable, it's probably not going to be like totally waterproof and fudge proof, but I don't really feel like I need that. I mean, it stays in place well for me. I don't really have any issues with it smudging or anything, but like look at that wing I was just able to do. I love just kind of messily placing a pencil eyeliner and then just using a brush to like smooth and wing it out. I haven't tried using this on my cheeks yet, but I do want to try that for maybe like a brownish blush or like kind of a contour shade. They do have some other shades of this one liner in like pink shades, like more lip liner type shades too. And I just love it when brands market their products as multitaskers like this because it just takes care of so many steps in one and it's just this one little product. Alright, curling my lashes. The mascara I chose, probably another obvious one. It's the e.l.f. Lash Extender. I just love this mascara. It's been my favorite ever since I tried it. And it's funny, I actually kind of prefer brown mascara over black mascara these days. I still like black mascara, but like the other day I wore my Cali Ray mascara, which is in black. I don't know, I felt like I looked kind of weird just because I'm so used to brown mascara on me. Like black mascara just looks weird on me. I used to like have no interest in brown mascara. Like I only wanted black mascara because I felt like brown just like wasn't dramatic enough. But I don't know, now I just feel like brown looks a little more natural on me. And this isn't like the most obviously brown, but it is brown for sure. It's like a dark chocolate brown. And this is a tubing mascara. I love it. It doesn't smudge, but it's also really easy to remove. Very satisfying to remove as well. That's what I love about tubing mascaras. I also find this brush so easy to control. I really rarely get any mascara on my eyelid when I use this one. And I feel like that's a problem that I have with like most mascaras, honestly. So that leaves us with our final 3 products. I wanted to have a few lip options. So I chose a liner, a lipstick, and a gloss. The lip liner I chose is the Jones Road lip pencil in mauve, my favorite. It's actually a really close match to my natural lip color. I love this one because it's super smooth and creamy, so I could also use this to fill in my lips entirely and just have that be my lip color. And this could also serve as a blush. So if I ever wanted a blush that's a little bit more cool tone than the milk, this would be another option. Then the lipstick I chose is one that I have just been loving recently. It's the Estate Cream of the Cream lipstick in the shade Fluffy. I just love this lipstick so much. Super creamy, like it literally feels like a lip balm, and it just has the most beautiful light warm nude color to it. If I wanted to go more brown with the lips, I could use the Tower 28 one liner as a lip liner, like really lightly, and then go in with this, and that would make it even more brown. But then paired with the mauve lip liner, it's much more neutral. And then of course I could also use this lipstick as a blush if I wanted to. So lots of options. And then of course I also had to choose a lip gloss, so I went with something more clear. This is the Lawless Forget the Filler in the shade Rosy Outlook. And I went with this one because it is pretty much a clear gloss. It has like the tiniest bit of a milky pink tint to it. But I wanted to choose a clear gloss because if I want color to my lips, I could just put this over the Jones Road lip pencil in mauve, or even like the dark brown, or the Estate lipstick. So I went back in with the mauve lip pencil, and I'm just going to go over that with Rosy Outlook. And that's the completed look. Those are the 15 products I would keep if I could only keep 15. I would be very sad to part with the rest of my makeup collection, but I do think with these 15 items, I could create so many different kinds of looks. I had so much fun with this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you had fun, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to go above and beyond in supporting my channel, I do have a Patreon and a channel membership. Huge shout out to all of my current patrons and channel members. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you very soon in my next video. Bye!